So for today's project, we're going to be doing it in two parts, and we'll start with an empty design and we'll be using it for the plate or the dish. So as always, we're going to start with a sketch. Let's begin with two circles. So we're going to draw one circle on this first sketch, and this is going to be our base, so the part of the plate that touches the ground. I'm going to go ahead and make this 90, but it's totally up to you, and you can base it off of the size of your plant. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create an offset plane so that I can draw a circle slightly above this. So what I'll do is go to construction, and mine already shows you the offset plane tool, but if it doesn't, you can click the menu and find offset plane. I'm going to choose this top face that I drew the original sketch on, and I'm going to offset it by, let's see, 50 looks like it's a little too much, so I'll go with 20. And just as a rule, this is going to be how far up your plate is going to extend. So we're going to select this face and we're going to draw a new sketch. And again, we're going to draw a circle from the center, but we're going to draw it a little bit bigger than the first one. So let's dimension this distance between, and I want it to be 25. So I'm going to finish sketch, and you'll see now we have these two circles, and what I want is I want to connect these two, and for that we're going to go back and use the loft tool. So we'll need to select these two faces. Also this inside section, if it might have created the same circle on this sketch, so you could dimension it, but that's alright, you can just select both. And we'll click OK, and you'll see we're starting to have the shape of a plate. Now what we want to do, since our plate has to be hollow, is we're going to go ahead and add the fillets first. So at the very bottom, I'm going to add a fillet. Let's try 3. 3 doesn't look bad. And please just edit the shape how you like. I'm going to go with 5. And now we're going to go ahead and shell this top face. So I'm going to choose a wall thickness of 3 as well. And you'll notice this looks like it's a little bit thick on the lip, so you can always change that. I might go down and do 2.5. That seems to be better, so I'm going to click OK. And you'll see now we have our dish. You can just go in and fillet any of the remaining edges as you'd like. It's completely up to you how you do them. And as a final touch, you might just want to add another sketch at the bottom to make a small raised part for the circle, for the plate to stand on. So this is something I like to do with my plates, but it's completely optional. We'll just draw this smaller circle. Let's see, probably go with 10. And I'm just going to extrude out this section. And go ahead and fill these as well. It just makes the design look a little bit nicer. Okay, so now we have our dish, and with this, I'm going to go ahead and save it. And we'll move on to the next part. Now that we have our dish made, we're going to go ahead and create a new design while keeping this old design open. So you can just go up here and create a new design. For the pot part of our pot and dish project, I'm going to go ahead and use the revolve tool for that. So that means we're going to have to draw a sketch. I'll do it on the front side, and it's just going to be the side profile of the pot. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and just make this general shape first. I'll worry about the dimensions a little bit later. And I know I want these two lines to be horizontal, so I'll constrain these. And I also know I want these two lines to be lined up, so I can also use the vertical tool for that. Next, I'm going to go ahead and choose this angle. Let's go with 100 for now. And for this distance, right now it's at 50, which means we'd have a pot with a diameter of 100. But going back to our plant dish, we know that this circle, which we want the pot to sit in, is actually around 86. So I'm going to go ahead and make mine have a diameter of 85. And that's because I want it to be able to fit in the dish. However, this is the radius, it's half of the diameter since we're going to revolve it, so what we can do is 85 divided by 2, and it'll do the math for you. Another thing is we can choose this angle. It looks like it would become an over-constrained sketch. Now what you can do, usually we click cancel, but today I'll just show you. We'll create a driven dimension. And what this does is it just tells you what angle it is without actually changing the sketch in any way. Since with this angle and these two lines being parallel, this angle is always going to be 80. This is something helpful as a reference if you just want to know what angle this section is. And now as the last thing, I'm going to choose this dimension. Actually, before I do that, I'll choose the height first, which will help us more. I'm gonna go ahead and do 120. And I'll just adjust this angle however I like. Let's see. Perhaps this is a bit better. And what I also want to do is I want a kind of lip here, so I'm going to go ahead and draw another section. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these horizontal, and I'll make these two lines parallel. Also, note, since this is the side profile, actually we're going to want to make this line a construction. It's just going to show us like what it'll look like at the top, and we also use this point and the line for the dimension. But we don't want it to be there when we revolve, so what we can do is we're also going to go ahead and add one more line here. It should be parallel, and this is going to represent the wall. You'll notice we'll have to line these two up as well. One thing we could have done was draw a center line, but since I'm showing you how to use the horizontal vertical constraint on points, we'll do that for today. Next, I'm going to want to make these two lines parallel and these as well. And then just choose the dimension. I'll do a wall thickness of 2.5. And for this, I'm going to give it a little bit, actually I'll keep it the same wall thickness, so to do that I can just click on this dimension and click enter, so it'll be the same. And the only thing left is I have to draw a line here to make this shape solid. Let's see. And another line here as well. Now we can go ahead and trim this if we'd like. And just set a dimension between these two. Click Finish Sketch. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the Revolve tool. This face is already selected, and I'll choose this blue axis. And it'll give me a new body, and I'll click OK. Now we have a perfectly made pot, and I'm just going to go ahead and do our final touches with the fillet tool. As always, if you realize you want to make any changes, you can always go back to the original sketch, and let's say I want to make this a little bit, I want to make it stick out a little more, we can always edit it, finish sketch, and you'll see all of the changes will be added. So this is perfect for us, and I'm just going to go ahead and save it. One more thing to note is, if you want to be using this for, if you're going to be using this to pot your actual plant, one more thing we should do is add holes in the bottom. If you're just making this for decoration, you don't have to do that, but since I might be using this, if you would print it or manufacture it, we should go ahead and do that. So I'm going to create a sketch in the bottom face, and I'm just going to go ahead and create, I'll create a circle a little bit far out, and I'm going to draw a line from it to the center. I'll make sure this line is vertical, it's already vertical, and I'm going to make it a construction line. Next I'll choose the diameter of this circle. Maybe make it somewhere around 5. Or let's see, it's a little bit small, so let's go up to 7, and now I'm going to go ahead and go to create, and I'm going to use the circular pattern. I'll click this, and I'll also click this center point, and I'm going to repeat it, let's say 5 times. I'll finish sketch. So the circular pattern tool is very similar to the other body pattern tool that we used, but you'll notice it's just different because it's for sketches. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click these faces, and I'm going to choose the to object distance, and I'll click the inside face, and you'll notice that automatically makes it a cut. If it doesn't, you can go ahead and manually change it to cut. We'll click OK. You'll see now our pot has drainage holes for the plant, for water for the plant to drain out of. This is perfect for us. So I'm just going to go ahead, remember to save your file, and I'll show you how to put the two together. Okay, what you're going to want to do now is create a new design. So go to this file section and do new design. And we're also going to open up our panel, and I'm in the editable documents section. If you're not, you can go to home and you can find it at the top usually. And I'm just going to keep these to the side here, the plant pot and the plant dish. You might have a lot of other projects you had here, that's okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make this file the place where we put the pieces together. So what I'm going to do is I'll click the plant dish with 2 fingers or right click, and I'm going to do insert into current design. You'll see this will add the pot to our the dish to our design, and it should be in the middle, so I'm just going to click OK, but if it's not, you can always place it there. Next, I'm going to do the same thing with the plant pot, so 2 finger click or right click and insert into current design. For the pot, I'm going to move it a little bit up so it's just floating like this, and I'll click OK. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a joint. So there are different kinds of joints. This joint will move your pieces together so that they snap into place, and this joint will just keep your pieces together where they are originally. I want to move this down to match the bottom of the plate, so I'm going to click the normal joint tool. I'll click this bottom face, the middle of this bottom face, and I'm then going to click the middle of this plant. And you'll see the pot moves down and sticks to the plate. This happens because what we're doing is we're using a rigid joint. You'll go to motion and you can see it's rigid. There are other types of joints that you can play around with, but for today we just want to stick these pieces together, and this is good. So for the position, you can always rotate it as you like. You can also slightly shift it, so you see this offset makes it go a little bit off-centered. And you can adjust it, but for us this looks good, so I'm going to click OK. And you'll see there is a joint. When you try to move the pieces, you won't be able to move anything, they're going to be stuck together. And when you use M to move the pieces, you can click on these bodies to the side. It might not let you select them, so you can also click on components. And you'll notice we can't do anything because it's stuck in this rigid constraint. This is one thing that helps when you have lots of pieces and you're moving some around and you want others to stay in place. Even if you try to move them, you'll notice that you can't do anything. It'll also give you a warning here. Another thing is, you can see this rigid joint indicator, this icon. And if you don't want to see that, like if you're taking a picture or something, or you just finished, you can 2-finger click and do show or hide. So this is going to hide the joint. Now to get the joint back again, we're going to look at this menu and we can see in the relationships section, there's a thing called joints, and you'll see our rigid joint right here. You can toggle it on and off there as well. So this is how to make a pot and dish for plants. As a bonus, what I'm going to be showing you is how to change the appearance. As a bonus, I'm going to be showing you how to change the appearance or the material of each of these pieces. You'll notice if you 2-finger click in this design, there's no appearance tool, and that's because the process is a little bit different when you have an assembly. What we're going to do is we're going to reopen our plant dish design. You can either do it through this menu, or you can just find it at the tabs at the top if it's already open. And I'm going to go ahead and change the appearance here. I think this iron looks kind of interesting, so I'll choose that, but go ahead and browse the different materials, download the one you like, and drag it onto the piece. So I'll close here. And I'm going to do the same thing with the pot. You can make it a different material or the same one if you'd like, it's completely up to you. And I'm going to go ahead and save both of these files. So I'll click Command S for save, or you can also go up to File and Save. I'm going to save this one as well. Now that our two designs are saved, we can go ahead and go into the assembly, and you'll notice we have a warning here, and it says that our references are out of date. So to fix that, we can 2-finger or right-click on the name of the file, and we do Update External References. You'll see now both of them change into the correct color, and that's because we were able to update this assembly, and you'll see the warning sign also goes away. Looking at this, we'll see that the material is perfectly duplicated, and now you have your finished design.